Wokeness is being purged from gaming industry, and shields are seething in confusion, by ref says desu. I think this is about Polygon's Rip Bozo, because Polygon did go Rip Bozo. Rest in peace, you won't be missed. And the first bad game journalist website, or whatever you want to call it, has officially died. You will not be missed. Don't hire these people. Let's go.
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be looking at some more bad news for games journalists. For the average person watching this video, it's probably not too surprising to see another
games journalist on the bottom of the bottom. Worst people ever. Because you're not actual games journalists. You don't talk about games. You talk about things like, how people not choosing, Chikorita is sexist or homophobic. Things like that.
big round of layoffs because games journalism over the past decade plus has really devolved from providing insightful articles on gaming related news and game guides and stuff like that to endless attacks and culture war related stuff where they have turned themselves into activists more than journalists, using their position to attack people they ideologically disagree with. It is definitely one of the more woke mediums out there, and that is reflected in their work, which is, again, devolved into something that doesn't even resemble games journalism whatsoever. Now, the latest group to be hit with a massive round of layoffs is, of course, Polygon. So Polygon's been around on the scene for a very long time now, but over the past couple of years, pretty much all they do is release hit pieces on various things they find problematic and release some of the most cringe-worthy.
Yeah. So problematic. So problematic. Yeah, Chikorita's trash. How dare you filthy sexist, calling Chikorita trash? How dare you? You are so gross. That's how these people talk. Half the time I have no idea what the hell any of this YouTube drama means or even is. Well, this is just Polygon dying video game journalists.
Articles you'll ever see on the internet. So here's the news. Ironically enough, reported by Kotaku, is probably next. They say this: Polygon sold to Valnet and hit with
foreshadowing, because Kotaku's next. It's gonna take a while for IGN to kick the bucket, though. It might take a while for IGN to kick the bucket, but they eventually will too.
Mass layoffs. One of the biggest gaming sites around was just blown up. You can see down here, the video game website Polygon has been sold to click farm powerhouse Valnet, and much of its masthead has been laid off, Kotaku has learned. The sale was subsequently...
I mean, if they... New owner. I mean, if the new owner actually manages to save it, I mean, why not? But in that case, they would actually need to do proper games journalism, which they won't do.
Announced in a press release, multiple staff members have posted online about losing their jobs or about colleagues now being out of work. So as you can see, they've been sold off to this Valnet, who's described as a click farm powerhouse. And you know what? Kotaku's not wrong here, even though Kotaku's pretty much guilty of the same thing. Valnet pretty much exists to grab as many of these various platforms as possible, get them under their wing, and then just produce as many articles as possible. Okay? Quality doesn't matter. It's quantity. They just want to push out as many articles as...
Okay, never mind. Just articles. Okay, that's not an improvement. That's just more horrid.
Possible to collect ad revenue and basically go from there and hope it's a financial success. Now let's see some of the reactions on Blue Sky, because where would you find the reactions to this news about games journalists other than Blue Sky? Because that
MAP Sky, Pedo Sky, no matter what you want to call it, because that's where everyone exists. Yeah, Blue Sky's just Twitter pre-Musk. That's really what it is. That's actually what it is.
That's where all of them go. It's the biggest echo chamber for their kind. So you can see Chris Planty here saying, I no longer work with Polygon. If you're hiring, please consider the many talented writers and editors now on the market. Every one of them deserves a spot on your staff. I won't be talking more about the sale because I wasn't involved. Going to hang out with my kid, taking wins where I can. Here's another one saying, by now, you've probably heard the news, Polygon has been sold to Valnet, and I, along with most of my wonderful colleagues, have been laid off. So it's very clear from the jump here that it's the majority of the employees.
Please. Please do not hire these people. I beg of you. Nobody out there, please don't hire them. I beg you. These people will do nothing but cause you problems. As harsh as and you know, it is sad in a way, you know? I do feel bad, but kind of not, because it's your own fault. But in the same way, I do feel kind of bad for them. Because, you know, some of these do have families, they do have bills to pay, they do have maybe children who are depending on that job, right? Potentially, you know? So I do think that I do feel kind of sad for them, but at the same time, I'm like, you brought this upon yourself.
Who have been laid off as a result of this sale. And here's one more from Nicole Carpenter saying, I'll say more later, but I no longer have a job. I'm looking for work, as are so many of my amazing colleagues. I have lots of ideas and things I'd like to write.
Just put the fries in the back. McDonald's it is. McDonald's, Subway, KFC, you know, Burger King, Wendy's. There's plenty of room for you. But please, no more, don't put them into charge for writing articles. I beg of you.
I'm really in shock. Now, I covered this post because of this final part right here. A lot of people acting very shocked that this happened to Polygon. In fact, if you just search Polygon on Blue Sky...
This isn't really surprising as much as they want to make it seem that it's surprising. Because when you look at numbers and you look at money, they're all in the trenches. Polygon, Kotaku, IGN, some other things. No, IGN's not so much, but it has dropped. It has significantly dropped. They're all in the trenches. Because first of all, nobody wants to read a weird... Nobody wants to read a weird article about, oh, this is problematic, or how gamers are racist, sexist, white supremacist, whatever it may be. Nobody wants to read that. Second of all, why should I read an article if I can't just watch a random YouTuber do it much better? Simple, huh?
Guy, you'll see a blob of tweets like this saying Polygon and Giant Bomb dead in the same week is just unfathomable. Polygon and Giant Bomb, people, drinks around me at Summer Games Fest from Jason Schreier. How the F does this happen to Polygon? God, this industry. So there's a lot of shock among the games journalists. They don't understand how this could have happened to Polygon. Well, to anyone who's a neutral observer of this entire thing, you're not surprised at all. I mean, the writing was on the wall. This is going to happen to pretty much every single one of these major networks out there for games journalism. They're going to get sold off and their employees are going to be laid off en masse. It's going to happen because no one cares about games journalism anymore. And that's a shame because they did it to themselves. There's no other people they can blame other than themselves. It's been...
Yeah, I remember Leaflet apparently is, or did, do some games journalism, and she actually wrote articles about games, you know? Actual articles about games. You know, reviews, other things, you know? Actual articles. It is crazy, but it does exist. It did exist back then.
At this point, over a decade of non-stop slop and activism instead of providing insightful articles on the related subcultures. They have gone completely mask off politically. They've made it clear that that's more important than actually providing some gaming news and doing their job as they're supposed to. This is not surprising at all. And Polygon is just one of many where the quality of their articles is mediocre. And it's not just mediocre, it's cringeworthy. Like, some of the headlines they do are not only very abrasive and try to make some sort of a stance on various issues that they don't really have the right to be talking about as a games journalist, but also they just make some weird articles that just make you scratch your head and say,
I think games journalists' job is to talk about games. Only about games.
how did they think that was a good idea? So to celebrate all of what I just said and to really show it to you, I decided to go through Polygon's website and just pick out their greatest hits, some of the classics from their website, and I just keyword searched some relatively predictable terms that will show up in a ridiculous article, right? This took 5 minutes to pull up all these articles. I'm sure there's a lot worse out there, but let's get into it. Starting with this one, there was one big snub in the Game Awards nominations. Dragon Age the Veilguard, a game engineered to succeed at the Game Awards, did not.
This game took Dragon Age, shit on it, smeared the shit over the entire franchise, flushed it down the toilet, and then had to lay off the writing team. I am still mad. I am still mad. What they did to such a great franchise as Dragon Age. I don't care about that this chick is non-binary. I don't care. I don't care about the writing. What does this weird speaking, what does this weird modern speech, it's not supposed to be in a game based on the fucking Middle Ages. That's not what it's supposed to be. Leave me alone. The gameplay is dog shit. In addition to that, the dialogue is dog shit. In addition to that, this game is ass. And they have proven that it's ass because the entire writing team was fired. Die.
So they're saying, based on their gaming knowledge, that Dragon Age the Veilguard was snubbed at the Game Awards because it didn't win any of the big awards, which to anyone looking at this, it is not surprising at all that they did not succeed at the Game Awards. The only thing that was surprising is that the people working for the Game Awards, especially the journalists who control the overwhelming majority of the votes, that they didn't just go mask off and say, well, this aligns with us politically, let's make it win. But it did not, and I guess this person at Polygon is surprised. This game was not engineered to succeed. The franchise was, but this game was not. It hyper-focused on...
The franchise was until Inquisition dropped. And 2 was rushed. 1 was amazing. I wanna replay that eventually, maybe even on stream, because 1 is amazing. 2 is mid because it was rushed. Inquisition is better than 2, but still mid. And Veilguard is just die. Just roll over and die.
The characters' identities and getting into identity politics and all of that stuff, and having a bunch of obnoxious messaging throughout the game, and overall just, it was a boring story. There's nothing to it. But let's look at other articles. Like this...
Yeah, and in addition to that, the character that we've seen here, the blue chick, that's not how these characters are supposed to look. They're supposed to look very beefy and like strong. They completely violated these. What the fuck is this article? Disney's hottest animated animal characters ranked? Fucking Nala. That's crazy. Gooning.
Absolute hood classic. Disney's hottest animated animal characters ranked. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought this was a meme. I thought this was like a made-up article. And that's real. It's right on their website. And they actually go through all of the...
Bernard? Tramp?
Animals from...
Rita?
Disney. And
okay, yeah. For the women, obviously. That makes sense.
It's wild.
Miss Bianca! What?
This is games journalism in a nutshell. This is peak journalism right here. Like, if you want to do this sort of stuff, you're a little weird and you want to make some sort of a list like this, nobody really can stop you. But is this really what Polygon should be doing? And also, Polygon, by the way, is very judgmental in their articles about people who enjoy Japanese style games and stuff like that, and also enjoy playing attractive female characters, as we'll see in a little bit.
Attractive female characters. Ah! The fucking mouse! They want to fuck the mouse. That's crazy.
But here's another one, a game changer right here in 2017, saying gaming's racist and sexist personalities aren't a new threat to children. Technology changes the fears, but not the strategies with it.
Dude, if somebody just yelled the N-word into voice chat, you just mute them and move on. If somebody calls you a whore in the game chat, you just mute them and move on. These people would never survive the PS3 and the Xbox 360 days. They would not survive. They would just evaporate.
A picture of JonTron here, so obviously making him one of the faces of this racist and sexist issue targeting
JonTron? Oh yes, right. They hate JonTron because he succeeded.
Children. So down here they say, in quotes, "Do you watch PewDiePie?" I asked my oldest son. He shook his head no, but then asked why I would even bring it up. Because he doesn't understand why jokes about genocide aren't funny, I explained. My son goes to a German language school, and this wasn't the first time this particular topic has come up. I don't think PewDiePie is an anti-Semite as much as I think he's a rich white guy who doesn't understand that anti-Semitic humor isn't the best way to make a point. PewDiePie is thoughtless, and his wealth and built-in following insulates him from having to look at any of his beliefs very hard. I wouldn't be upset if my children were fans of his, but I would try to explain why shock humor is lazy and more likely to get you in trouble than to get a laugh. And then they move on to talking about JonTron, which that whole controversy.
I swear they cannot let PewDiePie go. They cannot let this man go. They can't. The N-word incident. And what they want to put out here as well is probably, you know, when PewDiePie made that one video where he told like some guy, two guys on like some website that they should you know, say kill all the, you know what, since anti-Semitic. He didn't even expect them to do it, but they didn't know what it was, so they did it. So they put up like a sign saying it.
Controversy with him is just insane. Basically saying that he's parroting white supremacist beliefs and stuff like that. It's just
JonTron is a white supremacist? Yeah, I don't believe you.
classic Polygon complaining about PewDiePie. I'll ask you, where's PewDiePie today versus Polygon? Well, one's living a happy married life and experiencing the first time being a father, and Polygon is Polygon. Yep, that's pretty much what's going on here. Let's look at some more classics. Wizards of the Coast is addressing racist stereotypes in Dungeons and Dragons. Changes to the Drow and Orcs and
that was so cringe. I swear to God, that was so cringe. It's crazy how cringe that was. Let's just finish one of your videos up, man. Hi, Fortification. Hello, hi. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. That is so cringe. They fucked over Dungeons and Dragons. Not gonna lie.
more diverse hiring. So in case you're not familiar with this controversy, I covered it many years ago, but Wizards of the Coast was pressured by a bunch of activists to change and censor some of the monsters in their IP, because those people, you know, the non-racist, the progressive people, they looked at these monsters and said, this reminds them of black people. Therefore,
you heard that right. These motherfuckers looked at orcs and said, that's a black dude. Or a black lady. You can't make this up. They looked at orcs and said, black. Funny enough, they did this also with Lord of the Rings, where they said, oh, orcs? Black. What? They also did it with Harry Potter, where they looked at the goblins and were like, Jews. No. These are orcs. Also, They did the same with Frieren. A lot of trans people did the same with Frieren, where they self-inserted as the demons. You will not believe it. The demons, the unredeemable monsters in Frieren are minorities. Well, I didn't expect them to do it, and they didn't know what it was. He should have added that in the final cut, but again, it's an old situation. No use on dwelling on it. Yeah, it was badly handled, but yeah, he didn't expect them to do it.
For Wizards of the Coast is racist. Try to wrap your head around the fact that these progressive people look at monsters in a video game and their first thought is black people. Very, very strange. It's pretty much a self-admission there.
Yeah, the anti-racist on his way to, the anti-racist on his way to say the most racist stuff ever.
But here's another one. The fascist subtext of Attack on Titan can't go overlooked. The story's twist exposes the ugly side of the manga and anime. I didn't even know they jumped in on this whole Attack on Titan is promoting fascism trend that people try to do about 5-6 years ago, but that's not too surprising given the fact that it's Polygon, of course. Here's another banger.
It is fiction. It is fiction. If I want to put fascism in my fiction story, I can, and I should be able to do so. Because it's a fictional story. The fuck do you mean that is something that's like, oh no, you can't do that?
Is this a Pulitzer Prize winner? It has to be. Understanding Ugandan Knuckles in a post-Pepe the Frog world.
Yes, yeah. Pepe the Frog is, also problematic. If you didn't know, now you do.
That sentence will give you whiplash, dude. Yes, they actually sat down and went through this to try to compare Ugandan Knuckles to Pepe the Frog to understand whether or not Pepe the Frog is actually a hate symbol or, you know, acceptable.
Well, they said it was a hate symbol, and even in Germany they said it's a hate symbol. And Ugandan Knuckles probably racist.
Or not. Let's read a little bit. So they're talking about Pepe the Frog, and of course, they say this. Pepe was co-opted and weaponized by alt-right groups, a radical movement that propagates racist, misogynistic, xenophobic, and other hateful ideologies and used as a form of harassment towards those on the opposing side of the political spectrum and hit mainstream recognition during one of the most tumultuous political periods. Pepe represented the total power a character meme could yield. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what...
Ladies and gentlemen, the face of racism, misogyny, and xenophobia, a depressed-looking frog. However that works.
What we're talking about. When you post Pepe the Frog, if you're watching a Twitch stream and you're posting something or a variation of Pepe the Frog in response, you're actually using an alt-right dog whistle. They tried this. They tried really hard. They actually got the ADL to designate it officially as a hate symbol, but people just laughed at it, and it's still very popular to this day, obviously. But they go on to say, like, wait a second, we're enjoying this Ugandan Knuckles thing, and there's that whole, like, do you know the way thing that people were saying, like, that.
Do you know the way? I do not know the way. You do not know the way of our queen. Such a good meme, such a good time. Man, my bad on my story and all, but like, yeah, let me change it up real quick because you're, yeah, true. It can't be the power he radiates.
That doesn't make the character racist, but Pepe the Frog is still a hate symbol because, I don't know. But anyways,
just because the do you know the way meme has become a rather racist and offensive meme because of this portion of the internet does not mean that the meme is originally racist. There is a fine line. The default Knuckles was not originally racist, and the meme was not racist. The meme was never racist. It never was. Of course, from a VTuber. Of course. Yeah, what are you gonna tell me next? Why are you gay? Is that homophobic now?
Terrible article. This was a painful read. Here's another one that got them a lot of...
Link is a gay icon? And Zelda fans know it? The Legend of Zelda's queer themes are more than just subtext. Bro, cannot be gay. He cannot be. Because they somehow need to make more Links.
Flack about 2 years ago. Link is a gay icon, and Zelda fans know it. The Legend of Zelda's queer themes are more than just subtext. So they're just claiming that Link is gay, which is a wild and outrageous claim, and really they're just kind of projecting their own desires onto this character that's in no way portrayed as this in the series, but they're really reaching.
It's really just super simple. My boy had to dress like a woman to get access to an all-woman society. In core, Link is basically a dude acting gay so he can take part in a girl's sleepover. That is what Link was in that moment. 100%. He's a sneaky little fucker.
To do this because it serves their narrative and their desires, and also they're implying that if you don't believe this, you wouldn't be a Zelda fan. Very obnoxious. But here's another one. Grand Theft Auto 5's misogyny is a problem its creators must finally address. Dated back in 2014. I'm sure.
What the fuck? Huh? Okay, I what Nexus Mario is, and Mario fans know it. I'm waiting for this banger. What are they gonna pull?
Sure, that went really, really well. But of course, there's more stuff like this. Sexism in League. E-girls, supports, and pretty champions.
Damn, he didn't even show it. I still don't get it. Sexism in League? E-girls? That has nothing to do with sexism. E-girls are just e-girls. They just want to pimp out dude for money. Dudes.
Maybe, just maybe, we should stop caring so much about what women do.
Maybe, just maybe we should stop caring so much about what women do in video games. Well, women play support. And men that play support are gay. We all know this. This is just a joke. This is just a joke. Don't cancel me. Fellas, is it gay to like a woman? Yes. Half of her DNA is from her dad, which is a man! Zelda fans know it in the game literally named after his lover. Like, what would Link be even in love with? The bird? Ganon? Mipha. Mipha. Mipha is perfect for Link.
In video games. Well, I will counter you back on that one, Polygon, and really all of these games journalists. I think maybe you should stop caring about what people enjoy, including men enjoy when they're playing video games, because that seems to be all they're doing. They're trying to police the type of content that people can consume and the entertainment that they enjoy.
Yeah, remember, I think one game journalist website like nuked us with the take that men who play female characters or make female characters in video games if they can are just closeted trans women, and I was like, bro, there's no way. There is no way.
Enjoy. In fact, here is a great example of their hypocrisy side by side. You can see one article talking about Skullgirls, where there was an update getting rid of some fan service from that game and wristbands or armbands that looked a little.
Yeah, it was fan service, armbands, changed animations, changed art from the art book and stuff. Everything was changed. Yes, that killed the game. Fun fact.
Little too close to a certain political party from Germany at one point. And of course, a lot of this was blown out of proportion because, yeah, oh my gosh, it turns out the bad guys in the game are actually modeled after bad guys in real life. There's actual bad guys in a video game. Holy moly. And also,
no, Rev is a little wrong here. The guys that had the Nazi-inspired imagery are actually technically the good guys in the story of Skullgirls. Just a correction.
Also, of course, the fan service being censored also removed digital copies from people, or they took away the digital copy. So they are quite literally taking things away from people as a result of this update that blew up in their face. But they're saying here, censorship good, fan service bad. But then they made an article about Genshin Impact saying Genshin Impact covers up the booties of its boy toys. And they were upset about censorship of the male characters. Very interesting. Here's another one, Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh, Anita Sarkeesian. Oh no, this bitch. This bitch. Goodness. Oh no. So you're telling me they nuked Bloody Valentine on this lovely Saturday? They nuked a lot of characters and censored them. That's what I can tell you.
Looks back at Gamergate. The game industry's silence was shameful. Written by Anita Sarkeesian.
You gotta consider this. This bitch is so pathetic. This woman is so pathetic. She threw a wedding themed birthday party for herself. Because no man on earth is ever going to touch this woman. Ever.
This is the old OG Gamergate days. Anita Sarkeesian was at the helm of her movement. She is a very deceitful liar, and she is someone who's caused immense damage to the gaming industry in the direction it was going back about a decade ago, focusing on censorship and attacking developers for not being inclusive enough or not focusing enough on women and what they want in gaming, and also labeling anything.
Incredible hot take. If you are a franchise focused on men, you should continue focused on men. The women that like your franchise, like it for the reason the way it is. You don't need, for example, Gears of War did that, where they focused on a lot on a female character in a game that's very much centered like men around men. That game did not do as well, and people don't like the character.
They possibly could, as misogynistic and any other phobe or ist she could think of, but it's ironic that she was still with them as close as 2020, and she wrote an article basically talking about her own experience in the third person. Interesting to say the least. But here's another one from recently. If you're thinking this is all stuff from 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you'd be wrong. They wrote this article days ago. The Last of Us's post-apocalyptic homophobia reveals its shallow setting. The story about tribalism that refuses to think about tribalism. Yes, there's post-apocalyptic homophobia in The Last of Us, because that is the main takeaway from this recent second season. Absolutely insane stuff, but you shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, also that show is just horrid. That show is just horrid. Bella Ramsey looks nothing like Ellie. She gets mocked by a random TikTok cosplayer. Like, absolutely cooked. It's just a wrong role for the wrong person. And, yeah, that I'm gonna be a dad. People didn't like that. People didn't like that at all. That's not how it was in the game. So you can't even do it accurately to the game, as usual.
Surprise. And also want to point out this little section here shared by Grums, where you can see this, I think now former Polygon writer, well, at least they're all former now, right? Saying they find it extremely difficult to believe that this was accidental, but who knows? And this was...
Really? That was censored? That was censored? Really? Hard R? Hard R. That was censored because of just that. Nah, bro.
Referring to Stellar Blade in a short-lived controversy they had where there was this graffiti next to the R shop, so it said hard R.
Yeah, they also censored the main character of the game, which actually is really funny, because if you know who made Stellar Blade, then you also know which game they made, which is NUKED. NUKED is At the verge of getting the 18 plus rating. Just saying. But here they had a crash out over this character. Over Eve. Bro, that's graffiti. It's supposed to be funny when you do something like that. Also true. Also true.
And of course, these are Korean developers who made this, and this was clearly just a coincidence. But this Arthur guy was going with the narrative, and oddly enough, as you can see, they have some of the greatest hits of all time in games journalism. Bayonetta 2's blatant over-sexualization.
Man, Bayonetta. Bayonetta has been in so much controversy when it originally released, but they picked with Bayonetta 2, it just picked up. That woman is so fine. And you know what's funny? It occasionally the talk comes up. You know, Bayonetta is gay. She's for the girls. Oh, yeah, but she has a husband and a child.
Puts a big dent in an otherwise great game. I thought she was liberating. Interesting how they flip-flop on Bayonetta. But here's another one. A male character criticizing a woman for going into battle with her shirt hanging open is the snake eating its own tail of video game sexism. Wow, that's a lot of word salad right there. But checking in on this individual, I want to share this because I've never seen this before on Twitter. In many years of using the platform, AGs is temporarily unavailable because it violates the X hateful profile policy. And this is real. I've never seen this before. You can't even view their profile. I mean, you couldn't anyways because they've gone private.
They died. Interesting. They just died. Rip Bozo.
Sense, I've never seen this label. Like, you can think of the most diabolical users on Twitter sharing the most disgusting, hateful, dangerous stuff ever. I've never seen this label applied to anyone else but this account, and how they earned it, I have absolutely no idea. But, of course, the confusion and delusion of games journalists and their allies is continuing here. Khalif Adams, who's always involved in all this stuff, says, seeing brilliant people at Polygon lose their jobs while grifter content creators are getting seats in the White House press corps.
Grifters, I love that word because it means nothing. I tell you an actual grifter. Ian, also known as iDubbbz. That man is the true definition of a grifter. If you want the grifter, just watch iDubbbz. There you have a grifter. An actual grifter.
Isn't fantastic. Well, not for you. And many things to point out here. If they were so brilliant, why did they get shut down? Because if they were so brilliant, making such good content, wouldn't people be interested? The market chose, and they didn't choose them. And of course, as usual with anyone who is a part of these related movements, the seething about content creators continues. I said it recently about some of the English voice actors and also some of the anime and manga localized.
Yeah, it's still going on. It's still going on. It is still going on. The VA stuff for Genshin Impact and Hoyoverse and stuff, it's still going on.
But games journalists and their allies are the same way. They absolutely hate content creators. They are seething in jealousy every single day. Every single person that's not aligned with them politically is a grifter. They won't accept or even give any of their opinions a chance as a result. And it's just showing itself once again right here. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys next time.
That's pretty much the end of the video there. Yeah, rip Polygon. Nobody wants you anymore. Next one. Kotaku, baby! We are straight up waiting for you. Kotaku, you're next.